How's it going? Today I'm going to show you how to clean a carburetor on a Honda gx160. So here's the Honda gx160. This came off of I got a whole bunch of gas air compressors. I'll quickly show you. I got about 10 of them. And this is my seventh one I'm working on. And yeah, I'm going to just quickly show you the air compressor. So it's this one right here, a Hitachi Metabo one. Now the difference between these is this is one engine, or air compressor motor, and this one is a 9.8 CFM, and then this one is a 5.8 CFM. Now I don't know why this one's smaller than this one, but I got these engines with the package, and I'm not trying to buy a new one because a new one of these costs about 130, I think 140 with tax Canadian off Amazon. I'm not trying to do that, so let's get to it. Alright, so the first thing you guys want to do with the Honda GX160 is take the spark plug here and not the spark plug, but the spark plug wire, take that off so it's not going to turn turn on you while you're working on it, and make sure this is off. So here's what the first step is. A part of this, you take off your air filter cover, and you take off your air filter, and then this is where it gets a little complicated, but I'm sure we'll get it done. So what you're gonna want to do is take off these two bolts. Now these are 10 mils. You're probably supposed to, or you recommended to use a ratchet, but I'm using impact because it's quicker, and I have about like 13 of these. I'm not even kidding. So make sure your impact's going the right way, which mine is not, and then go like that. There, that one off, and then yeah, you kind of know the drill. So now that your bolts are off, down here, you're gonna want to put the choke thing and the gas thing here, and then now we're gonna get to the shitty part, you could say. Well, first you want to take this I guess you could say emissions control thing. It takes the fumes that come from your valves and then puts it back in the air intake, so then it just kind of sucks it in, and then it comes out the exhaust, and then and then it repeats. So you want to take that off, and then now we got to get to this off, and then this is the real shitty part. So you see that fuel line there? You're gonna want to take a pair of pliers, which I'll show you in a sec, and push that down, because it's gonna be harder to push it up because it's more expanded, this metal pipe, so it can hold on to the hose better. So I'll quickly show you how to do that. Now I recommend needle nose pliers, but it doesn't really matter. Just you might struggle a little more with flat, fat ones. So you want to squeeze that together, push that down there. That was really easy. And then yeah. Now you can use vice grips for this part, but that's going to be a lot harder, and then you could potentially rip your hose with these rigid jaws. So what I recommend is using fuel clamps. Now these are $60, so if you don't have these, that'll work. Or you could just tilt the engine upside down, and that would work too. Alright, so now what you got to do is you got to take your fuel clamps. See this line here? You're going to want to take that and squeeze it as hard as you can so no fuel's going to get out, or at least a little. Some will, because the bowl is full. So next step. Now this part is recommended if you don't want to mess. You're going to want to take this drain bolt here and use an oil pan or whatever container you got, or if you're just outside and you don't care, just let it spill. You want to take this off, and you want to also make sure this fuel thing is off so the fuel stops once the bowl's drained and everything. So yeah, let's take this off. So this is going to be a 10 mil wrench or socket. It doesn't really matter, but I'm going to use a wrench because I'm on a table, And these are from Dollarama, and they look really, really high quality, if you know what I'm saying. So you want to take that, and this might be hard, so I might have to turn the phone off, but I'll see if I can do it. You're going to want to turn this and take this off. It will start leaking once it gets looser, so just be warned or prepared for that. So basically, just take that off. Now, I'll get back to you once I get that off. So I got it loosened, but I had to use my impact because that wrench wasn't that long. But I'm sure I could have got it off, but I'm on a table and I want to knock everything off of it. So Now it start dripping, and wear gloves if you can. You want to loosen that and then off. Now it will, it'll slow down pretty quick, but I'm not trying to make a mess. This is a table, and my dad definitely doesn't want a mess. So all the fuel's drained now. So now we're going to get to the part where you kind of have to be careful. So now you're going to want to take needle nose pliers or whatever you can and get this fuel line off. Now, this is where you want to be careful so you don't rip your hose. And basically, you want to twist that kind of side to side and lift up until it is off. Now, a little fuel leak, but not too much because we have the fuel line pinchers, I guess you call it. So now, this part where you also want to be careful so you don't stretch this governor spring. So now that we got this off and everything off, we should be able to pull this way, the carburetor. Now, this gasket will come off. Just put it to the side where you put your other bolts. And by the way, it's always good if you drain gas to keep a lighter here. Even better, a cigarette going. Okay, so you want to push this here. This should be able to lift up if you wiggle it a little bit, like that. And this spring was not supposed to come off that easy, but realistically what you wanted to have done is pull this a little more like this, or you could just like take the spring and like kind of bend it off because it's a hook, but you don't want to bend it like I did. I was not careful enough, so you don't want to do that. Or you could just pull it off and twist the carburetor the way the hook goes and then pull it off slightly. So now that we got everything unhooked, we can take this carburetor off. Now, realistically, it's never going to look as clean as it did here, but especially with a Honda and on an air compressor, nobody treats them right. But now with this carburetor comes the hard part. Well, not really the hard part, but the more complicated part, you could say. So now I'm just going to put my bolt over here with the rest of them. And basically, now what we got to do is take a 10 mil and get this off right here. Now I'm going to try to do this with an impact. This you definitely want to use a ratchet on. But since I'm recording, it's going to be a little harder, and, things are. So let's try to get that on there. Okay. Oh, I might, it's just kind of moving with the impact. Hold on, I'm going to have to, I might not be able to get it, but yeah, just take this off, and then the bolt come off, and, you want to remove it slightly so you don't rip that gasket that goes around the edge here to seal it. You don't want to rip that, but yes, so basically, you want to get this off, and there will still be fuel, so get your oil pan ready. Won't be much but little drips if you want to be really clean. But I have soaker pads here, so we should be good. So now that your bowl is off, this is where it kind of gets a little complicated here. So the next step is to take this part off here. And I don't even know what that would be. That's probably what's the 10 mil? Oh, it's a 10 mil. So yeah, take a 10 mil and then get that off. And yeah, so I got it off, and there will be fuel in there, so just be cautious of that. And this choke thing should just pop off, so I'll just put that over there. So now you have that off, and there should be a little filter in here. And I'll get to that in a sec, but the next thing that would be good to do is see this bowl here. There's a pin, or the float here. There's a pin that's holding it. Push that pin out, this little metal thing, and then pull it off from the other side, like that. Put it there. Make sure you don't want to lose that. Take this out. This is your needle, which you want to clean off. And then your jet is down there, which we will get to next. So now, the jet. Now this is a really easy sloppy way of doing it, but you can take these are welder tip cleaners, and you can just take this and get it down in the jet where it fits, and then go hold on. Yeah, once it fits in the jet, it's gonna be kind of hard to get in there. Depends how clogged the jet is. You want to go up and down with it, kind of. Mine's not in there right now, but yeah, you want to go up and down with it. And then also what you want to do is, I'm going to bring it over here. I'll be back in a sec. What you need is brake clean. Now, this is not brake clean, but it works even better than what stuff you're going to get at a store if you're in Canada. This here is mass airflow sensor cleaner, as you can see on the tab. This basically, old brake clean Canada got banned about a year ago because it worked awesome, but it was like dangerous, or so they cut back on it, and now it's sloppy, not working that good. You'd have to use like 3 times what you need for just this. So now what you want to do with this is spray it down there, in there, and take this and go up and down again, do it a couple times until you feel good and satisfied about it. Now, you could have done the brake clean that method, or you could take a small flat head here and go down where the jet is, and you can unscrew it and then take it out, and it'll take a couple taps to get it out after. And this is the jet. It's a little flat head there, if it can focus, and yeah, that'll come out. And I have another way that's kind of hillbilly-ish to make these things work better. Well, I won't go to the hillbilly-ish way yet, but if you take that jet out, it's a lot easier to go like that and keep cleaning it. Now, my hillbilly-ish way was to, instead of these, because Hondas have this emissions control thing where they make the jets really, really small in here. So yeah, they'll make those really, really small. And if you have stuff with dirty fuel, or if you have water, or if you have what's that stuff, ethanol, it'll instantly clog these things up. So what my idea was, which I've done before and it works good, but the only downside is going to burn more fuel, is take a tiny drill bit and drill that out, that hole there. Now, if you drill it out, it could be risky. You could wreck the jet, but if you don't want to deal with this again, then try to do that. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to keep going like this until the hole gets bigger, and then I'll switch up to the next size of the welder cleaning tips. Now, once you get that jet done, I just put it over there, and then you want to take those welder cleaning tips or a thin wire, and then you want to go through there, which it won't be too bad, but yeah, you can go through there. And then the next thing you want to do is pop this out, which we'll get to in a sec. Now, this part's really easy to take this out. All you got to do is grab your fingers and then pull it out carefully, and it should come out just like that with the O-ring. Now, as you can see in here, hold on a sec, the filter is dirty up there, if it can focus. Filter is dirty up there, and it needs to be cleaned. So what I like to do is take brake clean and spray it in there, spray it out for a little bit, because you can get new ones of these in the Honda packages, but I'm not trying to spend any more money than I have. So once you get it cleaned out with brake clean, as you can see, it's looking a lot cleaner. So now you want to get this, put your O-ring back on it, and make sure there's nothing in your sediment bowl here, just in case there is, and clean that out. And then we'll get on to the next part. Now, if you want, you can see in there is a little hole back there. You can brake clean in that if you want to, just to be sure. Now you're going to want to take off this piece right here. Now, this piece here is the idle screw. This will take a Phillips, a bigger one if you can, and turn that left until it pops out. Now, what you want to do after you get that done is under it on the carb here, there would have right here, you see that big hole? Right there would be this thing. You want to take the flathead and then pop that out. This is also a jet. Now, you want to take this jet, use those welder cleaning tips, do that out, that hole, brake clean it, and then do this hole there. And then you also want to do, where is it here? There's a hole deep in there that you you could see it. There's a hole deep in there you also want to brake clean and clean with the welding tips. Once you get that done, you're going to see a little hole in the carburetor, and where is it? Now I'm confused. Hold on, let me take a look at this thing and I'll get back to you. Okay, so I missed it completely. It's right here, this big hole. You wanna, if you could see maybe there's a brass fitting in there, and you wanna take your wire or welder clamp or welder cleaners, and you wanna clean it out through there, and you'll see it in here, and brake clean it. Now the next part is to pop these two screws off. This is where the feel comes in. Pop those two screws off. Now once you pop that lid off, there will be a little O-ring in there. You are going to want to take this black thing. It should come right out. Then you're going to want to take this little gasket out. Now once you get that all cleaned out, just start brake cleaning in there, and maybe put those welding tips through there, and brake clean through here just to make sure that no dirty feels in there. Now once you get that, we're not done everything, but I kind of want to clean some of this up. So now we're going to put back our filter in here, and I'll show you that. Now you're going to take your filter and your O-ring and put it here. Now it has to be the short way up because you can see there's an opening in there and there's a hole down there. So you just want to kind of fit that down there like that, and I put the O-ring the wrong way. Now once you get that fit in there, you're going to want to take this and just screw that back in there. Now once you get that tightened with a 10 mil, let's move on to cleaning the bowl, the pin, and the needle. Now I'll start with the pin first. All you really got to do is just brake clean it off. It's pretty simple, or just wipe it. Now with this, you don't need to take the needle off. You just want to kind of at the tip of the needle, just in case there's any things there that you can see that's imperfecting the seal. You want to just brake clean that off, brake clean around this, and make sure it's all clean. Then with the bowl, you just want to brake clean in there, make sure there's no sediment like what's in mine. And if there is, you can leave it in gas, or you can, what I'm going to do, because I don't have time to do that, I still have to make this video, so I'm going to just sandpaper it in there, because this engine really is, like, I have tons of these. If it wrecks, I have like 40 different bowls. I have tons of parts. Now after you clean everything, you want to turn this upside down and take your jet back here and screw it in. Now be nice and careful with it and gentle, because this brass and it's soft and they're easy to wreck. Once you get that in there, it doesn't have to be crazily tight and all that. It just has to, be in there. Now we're going to get this float on. So this float the needle here, after you clean everything off, will go back here. Now it's going to be kind of hard for me to show that on the camera, but this needle here goes in that white hole. So you see, you can press it down, and then make sure to line a float up with these two bars. Hold on, these two bars, 1, 2, you want to line up with the float, so then you can put the pin in it. So once you get all that done, now this would usually be the last step, but I'm just doing it this way. Now you are going to put where is it here? This back in. So you're going to want to start with the black gasket, then you want to have the plate here with an O-ring. So now you're going to want that piece to go in here, the fuel shut off. You're going to want to go where that gasket is, and then you're going to want to put the O-ring and then the cap on with the screws. Now once you get that on, we're going to put this jet, where is it here? This jet back in. That back in, we'll be able to do the idle screw back in. So I got the idle screw back in, and now we can put this bowl back together. So you can put the bowl on it now, and just the tip, you want to put this raised edge here where that is, so that it just fits in there, and then you'll put both your bolts back in. Now once you get both your bolts snug, you're going to want to take this carburetor and put away whatever you don't need anymore, and then get that engine back and ready to put this on. So once you get your 180-pound engine back on, you're going to want to make sure there's a gasket on there on the back. You're going to want to make sure this is going the right way. By the way, this is front, just in case you don't know. This is the front of it because basically you can put the fuel thing, the fuel thing goes there. I'm kind of out of it right now. It's 800 degrees in this garage. The fireplace is going, and it's like, I think it's like maybe +4 in communist measurements or units. So, yeah. So once you get that, you're going to want to push this closer. Kind of wiggle it, maybe get it on there. Or maybe it just doesn't like me. I do not know. Okay, so I got on there. Now you're going to want to take your governor rod and push that on there. And you want to take your governor spring, and there's a tiny little hole there that you want to take this governor spring and put it in there. Then you want to have your fuel clamp, and you're going to want to get the fuel clamp on that, and then put this hose back on there. Once you get your hose on there, you're going to want to take needle nose pliers again and twist that around here, and then put it on there. And once you're done putting that on, it's optional, but you can take your fuel clamps off, which I'm going to have to use 2 hands because I put it on there hard. Oh, no, I got it. You want to take that off and then push this. Ooh, it's leaking. I'm going to be right back. Alright, so once you get all this done, my bad, the reason it was leaking is because I put the gasket under it and not over it. That's my bad. Anyways, so I fixed that. And now what you want to do is make sure that's good. Like this is moving with the governor good. You want to take this gasket and put it on like that. Now it's supposed to go one way, so I'm going to show you which way to put it on. You want this little here groove. Jeez, I'm struggling. You want this little groove here for this. You want a little groove match with the hole. So you want to push that on, wiggle it on, get that, and then get this on here. Hold on. You want to match those 2 holes up. Get it there. Now, when you want to put this on, you see this tube here. It comes from your valves and goes into the intake. Make sure that's on. And also, when you're putting this on, make sure this here, which was my bad, this here goes this way. Same with the choke, which we have to put on. So now you get your choke piece here. You want to line this little metal bar here with that, and you put it there. Now you want to match that up, which I kind of forgot, man. I'm scatterheaded, and this is definitely not going to be one of the best, Honda carb clean vids. But honestly, I'm just kind of winging it here, and I have to get a long video out because I've only been really posting shorts with not much detail. So yeah, you just want to kind of shake that on, and then I'll get back to you once I get it on. Now once you get that on, take your 2 10mm nuts, screw them on, and then tighten them up. Make sure they're pretty tight. Once those are tight on there, we're getting to the final steps, which are easy. You put this on here, get that on, and then you want to take your fly nut, which I'll get right there. So you put your fly nut on here, screw that on, and then once you get that on there, down to the bottom, you get that pretty tight so it seals down there, which there should be a gasket on yours, but on mine, there is not. Then you want to take your air filter cover, put it on here, Screw that one on, get that pretty tight. And this is the last step besides, you can put clean fuel in it if you want, or if you already had any, that's pretty good. And then the last step, so you don't forget, is put on the spark plug wire. Should just click on there. Good. Make sure it's firm. And yeah, that's the end of the Honda GX160 carb cleaning vid. And, it might not be the best at all. It's just, a little shitty video I made. And yeah, well, if it helped or if you liked it, just leave a like or subscribe. You don't have to, but it helps me out. But yeah, thank you guys, and I appreciate you guys watching the video, and see yous in the next one.